On August 18, 1590, an Englishman named John White waded ashore on Roanoke Island, off the coast of what is now North Carolina. He was looking for his daughter, his son-in-law, and a granddaughter he had last seen as a 9-day-old baby. He found nobody. 115 colonists had vanished. No bodies, no graves, no sign of a fight. Just a single word, carved into a wooden post: Croton. That word has haunted American history for more than 400 years. And the strangest part? The answer may have been hiding in plain sight the entire time. To understand what happened, you have to go back 3 years earlier. In 1584, Sir Walter Raleigh held a charter from Queen Elizabeth I to plant England's first colony in the New World. Spain was hauling silver out of the Americas by the ton, and England wanted a foothold, a base to strike Spanish treasure ships, and a claim to a continent. Raleigh sent others to do it. A reconnaissance voyage in 1584 came back praising Roanoke Island as a paradise. A military colony of about 100 soldiers followed in 1585. It collapsed within a year. The soldiers fought with the local Secaucus people, ran out of food, and hitched a ride home with Sir Francis Drake in 1586. Before that colony failed, English soldiers had burned a native village over a missing silver cup and killed a regional chief named Wingina. Whatever goodwill England had on that coast was already poisoned. Then Raleigh tried something different. Instead of soldiers, he sent families. In May 1587, 3 ships left Plymouth, England, carrying roughly 115 men, women, and children. These were not conquerors. They were middle-class Londoners, farmers, and craftsmen, with at least 17 women, 11 children, and 2 babies on the way. Their governor was John White, an artist who had painted careful watercolors of the Carolina coast on earlier voyages. His pregnant daughter Eleanor came with him, along with her husband, Ananias Dare. The plan was to settle on Chesapeake Bay, farther north, with deeper harbors and better land. They never made it. In July 1587, the fleet stopped at Roanoke to check on 15 men left behind the previous year. The colonists found nothing but the bones of a single man. Then the expedition's pilot, a Portuguese navigator named Simon Fernandez, refused to carry them any farther. He ordered the settlers off the ships at Roanoke. Why he did this is still argued about. Some historians blame the late sailing season. Some suspect he wanted to get back to hunting Spanish ships. Either way, 115 people were now stranded on the wrong island, surrounded by communities that had every reason to hate the English. Things went wrong immediately. Within days, a colonist named George Howe went crabbing alone in the shallows and was found dead, killed by warriors from the mainland. But there was one bright spot. On August 18, 1587, Eleanor Dare gave birth to a girl, Virginia Dare, the first English child born in the Americas. John White was now a grandfather. 9 days later, he made the hardest decision of his life. The colony was short on supplies and dangerously exposed. Someone with influence had to sail back to England and organize relief. The colonists insisted it be White himself. Before he left, they agreed on a code. If the settlers moved, they would carve their destination into a tree or post. And if they were in danger, they would carve a Maltese cross above it. White sailed for England in late August 1587, expecting to return within months. He would not see Roanoke again for 3 years. The timing could not have been worse. White arrived home just as England braced for war. In 1588, the Spanish Armada sailed against England, and the Crown seized virtually every seaworthy ship for the fight. A small relief attempt in 1588 turned back after French pirates attacked and plundered White's vessel. So White waited, year after year, knowing his daughter and granddaughter were on the far side of an ocean with no resupply. Not until 1590 could he secure passage on a privateering expedition that agreed, reluctantly, to stop at Roanoke. He landed on August 18, 1590, his granddaughter Virginia's 3rd birthday. The settlement was empty. The houses had been taken down, not burned, not wrecked, but carefully dismantled, as if the colonists had packed up and moved. A defensive palisade of tree trunks had been built, and on one of its posts, someone had carved the word Croton in capital letters. On a tree nearby were the letters CRO. White searched for the one detail that mattered most: the Maltese cross, the agreed signal of distress. It was not there. To White, the message was clear. Croton was a nearby island, today's Hatteras Island, about 50 miles to the south. It was home to the Croton people and to Manteo, a native leader who had twice traveled to England and remained the colonists' staunchest ally. If the settlers had gone anywhere, that was the logical place. White begged the ship's captains to sail there. Then the weather turned. A storm wrecked anchor cables, fresh water ran low, and the privateers refused to risk their ships. They sailed for home. John White never returned to America. He died never knowing what happened to his family. So where did 115 people go? For centuries, the theories multiplied. Massacre, starvation, Spanish attack, a doomed attempt to sail home in a small boat. In the 1930s, a series of carved stones surfaced claiming to record Eleanor Dare's fate, and almost all of them were exposed as fakes. The colonists became ghosts, a story told around campfires. But the evidence was never as blank as the legend claims. Here is what investigators actually found. In 1607, 20 years after the disappearance, England finally planted a successful colony at Jamestown, Virginia. Its leaders were ordered to search for the Roanoke survivors. Native informants told the Jamestown settlers about people inland who dressed like Englishmen and lived in two-story houses with walls. The colony's secretary, William Strachey, recorded reports that some colonists had lived among native communities for years. None of these leads was ever confirmed. Jamestown was too busy starving to mount a real search. But the reports all pointed in the same direction. The colonists had not died at Roanoke. They had gone somewhere. Then, in 2012, a 400-year-old map gave up a secret. Researchers at the British Museum re-examined a chart of the Carolina coast painted by John White himself in the 1580s. Under a small paper patch, hidden for 4 centuries, was a fort symbol, marking a site about 50 miles inland, near the head of Albemarle Sound. Was this where the colony planned to relocate? Archaeologists from the First Colony Foundation began digging at the spot, now called Site X, in Bertie County, North Carolina. They found fragments of border ware and other 16th-century English pottery, the kind of everyday ceramic settlers would have carried, in a place no English trader should have been that early. And on Hatteras Island, Croton itself, the trail grew even warmer. Beginning in 2009, archaeologist Mark Horton of the University of Bristol, working with a local group called the Croton Archaeological Society, excavated native village sites on the island. Mixed directly into Native American layers, they uncovered late 16th century English objects, part of a sword hilt, pieces of firearms, a copper ring, German trade tokens, and, most striking of all, a writing slate with a small lead pencil. These were not trade goods passed along a beach. They were personal possessions, found inside a native community, used and kept for years. The picture that emerges is not a massacre. It is an adoption. The leading theory today, backed by the digs on Hatteras and at Site X, is that the colonists did exactly what the carvings said. They split up. Some went south to Croton and lived with Manteo's people. Others moved inland toward Albemarle Sound. Cut off from England, they survived the only way possible, by joining the people who already knew how to live there. Within a generation or two, their children were Croton. Centuries later, an English traveler reported gray eyes among the Hatteras tribes and stories of white ancestors who could read. The echo was still there. If that is true, the Great American Mystery was never a tragedy at all. The colonists left a forwarding address, in capital letters, exactly where they promised they would. The only person who could read it arrived 3 years too late, and the storm that turned his ships around buried the answer for 400 years. But one question still has no answer. Somewhere on that coast, Virginia Dare grew up, or did not. No dig has found her. No record names her again. The first English child born in America simply walks out of history. Maybe her descendants are still there, blended into the Outer Banks, unaware of the name they carry. History is full of cases like this, stories that were never really closed. If you want more of them, stay right here. There is always another one.